What is going on, crew? What is going on? And welcome back to Geekly Goods, guys. We are here tonight for a very special review. Yes, I'm talking a spoiler review for Godzilla versus Kong, y'all. Man, that dropped on HBO Max and in theaters today simultaneously, guys. This is our, third or fourth movie that's done that? I mean, we had Little Things, Wonder Woman 84. It's been a nice little ride, y'all. I can't even lie to you. I might have watched this on HBO Max at least once. So, hey, however you watched it, you saw it. If you're here, just to let you know, before we get started, absolute spoiler warning, guys. We are going to dive right into the meat and grain of this movie. So I want to let you know, if you have not seen the movie, please give it a watch, then come back, watch this review on the replay, because let me tell you, we're going to get into some spoilers, y'all. But let us know, are you Team Kong or Team Godzilla? Please be on the right team. Help your boy out with that HBO special, guys. Y'all know what that is. That's a Help a Brother Out special. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. And I have a very special guest that is joining me tonight. This guy, man, incredible content creator. One of my closest friends here on the internet. Guys, I am very happy to introduce my man from the Film Optix podcast, Christian. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, everybody? What's up?
Yeah! Air horn, baby.
It is. I just got back from seeing Godzilla versus Kong for the second time. Cracked a few days ago. Watched the screener, even though I wanted to.
How could you not?
I wanted my first experience to be in the theater, and I was like, what else am I gonna watch? Like iCarly? No, that could be put on the back burner for now. That's my comfort show. So I was like, all right, let's just Team Kong all the way, of course, like 100%. But
man, we team Godzilla in this household.
That's a nice shirt. I like that a lot. Did you get that from Amazon?
I actually got this one from the screening. Actually, we're giving out these shirts.
Nice.
Hey, you gotta snag me one up.
Did you get to choose which one you wanted?
Nah. So
really?
Okay, I don't know what happened, but they didn't have Team Kong shirts. I was like, dude, because I have a Team Godzilla sweatshirt. So I was like, hold on. But shit, they was Team Godzilla, the right team. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, spicy iguanas running all over the place.
Oh my gosh! Well, we got one Team Godzilla, we got one Team Kong in here. I know what's going on, guys. We got Ryan, Mike, Real James. I know that he is Team Godzilla as well. So we got a nice little balance in the chat. I want to say Andrew H, what's up, man? I think he is also Team Kong. So
there we
nice
go.
Little balance going on tonight. But Christian, let me know, man, just kind of your overall thoughts walking out of Godzilla versus Kong. I mean, hey, this is your second time seeing it, right? So what did you think, man? Like, just let me know your overall thoughts.
So I loved it. Like, I didn't know what to expect from this film. I say that about like every single movie that I watched beforehand, but I really didn't know because, during the beginning of the year, even backtracking way back to like late last year, we knew this movie was coming out, but there was like no marketing. There was this very hush hush. And then like out of nowhere, it's like, oh, we get a trailer, we kind of get a few pics here and there. But I mean, even watching it at home, I watched it complete all the way through uninterrupted. I was actually very, very proud of myself. But even watching
at home,
yeah, I know. I tried to recreate the movie experience while I'm here, but it doesn't really work out all the way. But I will say I enjoyed it more on my second viewing, probably because I was seeing it in theater, in a Dolby theater, no less. And there were a few things that I didn't really pick up on the first time. I'm like, when I first watched it, I'm like, I like it, but I need to watch it again to make sure that I like it. And I loved it. It's just, even though it is called Godzilla versus Kong, I feel like this is absolutely Kong's movie. Like just overall. Totally. And it's like, I was just blown away. It is the best out of, the new MonsterVerse that we've had. in my personal opinion, I absolutely loved it. Like it blew me away. Like I felt like I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm rambling right now.
No, you're fine, dude. I'm loving it because I completely agree with you. This is easily my favorite out of the MonsterVerse so far, dude. Like, look, every time I go into these MonsterVerse movies, I already know, look, I'm not here for the story. I'm not here for the human characters. Like, let's be real, man. I'm not going to say they were horrible in this movie, but
it's a lot better than King of the Monsters.
Yeah. Well, ooh, that's a conversation for another day, ain't it? Because it's like King of the Monsters was atrocious in terms of like the story, the human characters. It was so hard to follow that story that like the first hour of that film just feels like dry and hard to get through. And then when you get to the battles of that movie, it's great, but then they cut away from the battle so much. And that's what I love about Godzilla versus Kong is like when Godzilla and Kong meet up, it's go time, baby. They're not cutting away. If they are, it's a nice flavorful cut. You know, it adds to it. But man, the battle in this movie was incredible. I love the visuals, bro. I love just the blow to blow exchanges between the two of them. Like Godzilla freaking claws Kong. Kong hits him with that right hook to the jaw. Like I'm just like, this is a match, y'all.
It
like
really
this
was.
Is unlike we've seen really in the MonsterVerse. Look, King of the Monsters had some incredible fights, but none of those monsters had like straight up fists. Like
yeah, I mean, like really, you had Ghidorah. I mean, Mothra was there, and then you had Rodin, which was also just like a pterodactyl type thing. But it's just like, yeah, I know. It's I don't know. Like even between like. This movie, like, yeah, the human characters aren't as interesting, but like, it was the best that we've had so far. I was like, okay, you know, Millie Bobby Brown's back at it again. Like, I didn't know she was in. I totally missed that she was in the trailer for like a split second, and I was like, oh,
hair.
Yeah, literally like a hair. I was like, I kind of like Millie Bobby Brown. I wasn't sure. I didn't even bother to look it up, so I was actually surprised to see her, you know, reprise her role. And then we had Fire Fist from Deadpool 2. He was hysterical.
Yeah, man.
And then we had Tyree Henry. And then the guy from Friday Night Lights. I always forget his name. The dad of Millie Bobby Brown's father in this movie.
Oh yeah. Shoot,
I always forget his name.
Me right now, but I will say this: I'm glad we didn't have too much of him, and I'm glad that we had like the actress that played Gia was amazing. Yeah, and then Brian Tyree Henry. I would say they were like the two highlights of the cast for me. Millie Bobby played a way better version of her character than in King of the Monsters. Man, King of the Monsters, I was like, is this 11 like all over again? Like, what is going on? Kyle Chandler. Thank you, Real James. That's who it is, bro.
That's
I'm like,
his
dude,
name.
I'm slipping my mind right now. But hey, he says, loving the energy tonight. Godzilla versus Kong really delivered the most well-directed fights in the MonsterVerse easily, bro. The fights were just so good. What I loved about the fights this time and just about the monsters in general is we got these cool perspective shots. Like you would see like Kong running up and there's like this over the shoulder and you see him getting closer and closer to Godzilla. I'm like, dude, this is tight. This is something we never really got in the MonsterVerse because like I felt like in the first Godzilla, they made Godzilla at such a large scale that it was really hard for us as the viewer. Like we're always looking up at Godzilla and Godzilla. Yeah. And then here Godzilla versus Kong, we're like looking into his eyes even. Yeah. Like it's incredible.
You kind of forget how big these monsters are. Even like when they were on the boat, like fighting off, like you know how big they are, but it's like for some reason they felt smaller there, probably because they were, you know, out at sea. But you know, when they're in Hong Kong and you know, you kind of see it from, you know, the even from humans who are like maybe 12, 13, 15 stories up, you know, how big these monsters actually are. And it's like, no, it's like, it's not just a big gorilla. Or like, you know, Godzilla, like these are fucking huge. And it's like, right? You really see it from their perspective, the kaiju perspective. And it's like, wow, like they're actually really, really big. Like this isn't Kong from like 2005 or even from, you know, Skull Island. Cause they said, you know, he's grown. But I swear, every single movie that Godzilla is in, they always make him bigger and bigger and bigger, which is fine. Like, I mean, it is what it is, because it's like, I guess, to adapt to the times. It's just like, yeah, he's just a really big, lizard. It's like, how big? He's like, well, he's bigger than Barney. So
oh hell no. Oh yeah, I mean, it does feel, it's like sometimes Godzilla is like mega large, but what kind of makes him a little more true to size in this film is, I hope this works out, it's this shot right here. It's this ultra wide, this very like
he's a thick
big wide shot look at them both, and we get a shot of them in that perspective where we see them almost to what looks like our size, because it's like you don't see any human characters running on the ground and running out the way. No, it's just the two monsters at sea, boom, head to head. There it is. Now I gotta ask you, since we're doing spoilers, what'd you think of the match, bro? You know who won? You want
of course Kong won.
Nah, bro.
I was talking to Griffin about this the other day, and he was like, "Oh, Kong had his heart, revived by humans." I'm like, I mean, didn't the same thing happen in Godzilla and King of the Monsters? Like, in a way, like they had to jumpstart him up to get that radiation. I know he wasn't dying, but the lizard was badly hurt, and he got his ass wipes by Mega Godzilla. I was like, damn. But I will say, yes, Godzilla technically won, whatever. But it is Kong's movie. But can your boy sign language, though? That's what I want to know. Can Godzilla,
oh my God.
He was clearly the fan favorite. All the humans loved him. He had Gia, the little girl. I loved her so much. It was
so good.
Like, for acting without any, spoken words, she just did a phenomenal job, and it really hit home as well, because like you understand that they have a bond, and no, she wasn't in Kong Skull Island, but this is 5 years after King of the Monsters.
Yeah, I think
believe,
it's maybe about 5 years. Maybe I don't know. Did they have a time skip card? I didn't even catch that.
Well, they didn't have a time skip card, but I think they had said when Godzilla first appeared 10 years ago, so that was during 2014. Or Godzilla 2014. And then I think 5 years after that is when King of the Monsters happens. And then 5 years later is Godzilla versus Kong. I think.
You keep a better track than me at that time.
But I mean, if anyone knows anything else in the comments, please correct me. But I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. Because Kong Skull Island is a prequel.
Like, ain't that in the 70s or something?
Yeah,
like that's like a way prequel.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, in a way, even though like I feel like Godzilla had two movies, and then even with Kong vs. Godzilla, I feel like it's still Kong's movie for sure.
It totally feels like Kong's movie.
It was crazy. Like, I mean, like we saw Godzilla, like, I mean, he was there, as the opponent for Kong, but like we didn't really see too much else. I mean, it was kind of like, Kong's team with Gia and their excavation, and then Millie Bobby Brown and Tyree Henry with theirs. Everything kind of converges, but they're, you have Millie's side they're kind of like more on Team Godzilla in a way.
Right. They're they're trying to investigate as to why Godzilla is actually acting out the way he is. And so we don't really see them interact with Godzilla. We don't really see them speak with Godzilla, but the human characters actually do have a connection with Kong on his side. And I love the connection between him and Gia. Now, James, real James, man, me and him were talking, and I was like, I didn't like that Kong could do the sign language. But after seeing it a second time, I liked it, because it did give some kind of connection to Kong and Gia that made sense. Because I was like, well, if they had like a mental thing, it'd be kind of weird. But I do like like if they were like telepathically communicate, I'd be like, all right.
It's like Dragon Ball Z all over again.
Right. I'm like, well, come on now.
Well, they can just link up. Like, how does this work? Like,
like
just
Goku
happens,
and
just
Frieza
clicks.
just talking to each other and shit. Like just going all in, bro. But I liked it because also she could feel like his heartbeat and plus
was
I agree with
awesome.
James's comment here. Kaylee Hotel, I think that's how you pronounce her name. Unreal. I agree, man. Her and Brian Tyree Henry. I mean, she's just so talented in that she could sign through all this. And I actually did look at an interview that she did, and she was actually saying that she had nothing to look at for Kong. She literally had to reference the script. And I'm like, damn, that is some crazy good acting. The fact that you had to like straight up reference the script and come up with like acting movements and things like that. The crying, the tense moments, the trying to get him to go home. Like, damn, she had nothing to look at.
That is crazy. I did not know that. That's very impressive. That's incredible. Because I mean, and they used like a little ball or something.
Yeah, like, a ball on a stick, or like a green screen or something. Yeah. No, dude, she straight up just acted it out. And she said sometimes there was like a laser pointer, but that's it.
Okay. Yeah, because usually it's like, I don't know. Like, I mean, how would you scale like Kong for something like that? Because like,
I mean, like you would have to do like a laser pointer. What do you mean? I mean, because you'd have to point something, or you could just like make like a little target or something. I don't really know, but like
the way it was edited too was like really great too. I think that really helped out a lot. But it wasn't like any cheap tricks. It's like it was. Wow, she had really nothing to go off of. That's
crazy, right? Let me know your thoughts about the actual designs of the monsters, because they were so intricate. Like seriously, to the
way better
every
than the
scale on Godzilla.
Like for Godzilla, at first I was like, "Oh, he's looking a bit grainy there." I'm like, "Oh no, those were like his actual, like his slits for nostrils, his just like and it's he has like random kind of like spikes all across his by like little bumps, and it's like no, that's not grain. That's just you can barely see his eyes, but like you could still see them. But even for Kong, it was just. It's like this is a big motherfucker, like huge. But even for Godzilla, it's like you actually see how big his feet are when he's like pounding Kong, holding him down, because he's got those little Rex arms. But
little Rex arm that tore Kong up.
Toy Story. It did. I was like, okay, this guy doesn't really have this kind of reach. I'm like, I guess he's gotta he's got to get it a little bit close and personal, but his gills, totally forgot that that Godzilla had gills for a second. I'm like, how is he breathing underwater? I'm like, oh,
sea monster.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
everybody want to call him a lizard, a spicy lizard. And I'm like, yo,
he's a spicy iguana,
a sea monster, man. Oh my gosh,
yeah, he is. But yeah,
what I love so much about the designs too is they actually got like some really cool facial expressions out of the characters. Like I was like, damn, like Godzilla like at one point knocks Kong over and just like looks at him with like this evil ass grin.
Right.
Like, Godzilla knew he was like, I know I'm about to get this W, dog. Bag it up. You already know. I mean,
but even like inside of his mouth, like of Godzilla's mouth, it was like it felt like you could just reach in, and it's like, oof.
That shot where he's just like charging up his atomic breath in Hong Kong was absolutely mind blowing. Yeah, so good. The glowing neon colors surrounding, and then you got that neon blue right in the middle, dude. I was like, wow.
I think that helped out a lot to spot out the monsters, because I felt like it was more colorful and it wasn't as like it didn't seem like two like gray brown blobs just like fighting each other. Like it really gave everything popped, and that's what I really liked about it. But I'm telling you, when Godzilla, when he had that atomic breath all the way down through Hollow Earth, I was like, oh, so he just said, "Come at me." I was like,
right.
Oh my god, that was amazing. I was like, all right. But Hollow Earth, like AKA, I was just calling Middle Earth, but yeah, whatever.
Right. I mean, thank you so much for referencing the actual name, because dude, for the life of me, I can't remember it. Like I seriously, I'm gonna let you know this, man. Like this story, the story of all of them is just so forgetful forgettable to me. Like I
Yeah.
seriously cannot really remember that many details about characters, names, all this stuff. Cause I'm like, dude, I'm here for the showdown. I don't give a
for
damn
sure.
who Alexander Skarsgård is. I'm trying to see the dang monsters.
Yeah,
man.
he's trying to make, you know, a new alpha apex to protect themselves against Godzilla. But the reason why it wasn't that Kong was, you know, one of the alpha titans left. It was that it was so from King of the Monsters, and I feel like it kind of ties into this. The echolocation that they kind of used. I think it was the orca from King of the Monsters when they use like different frequencies to like either calm like a titan down or like make them angry. I believe they used that technology in Mechagodzilla, and that's why Godzilla was going crazy attacking everyone. That's why he was attacking the Apex facility where they were originally building Mechagodzilla. That's from what my understanding is, because
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you have a better explanation than
I'm going so much into this. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm listening. I'm like, this is the explanation I was looking for, but they literally were like,
they just didn't tell
that's
anyone.
another alpha. So
yeah,
I'm like, well, what the hell? Because that was like one thing that I was a little bit confused about was like, okay, so how does Godzilla sense this thing? I guess it was through the electricity, through them hooking it up. But I was like, how does he really sense the Mecha Godzilla stuff? But your explanation, now I know that that's it.
It was like something that they like showed and they didn't tell us, because when Brian Tyree's character, when he's first working for Apex and he sees that like orb that's giving off like that frequency, I was like, oh,
was that the eye?
I think so.
I thought that was Mecha Godzilla's eye. I was like,
maybe. But like it was giving off like a sound wave. I'm like, oh, it's the orca thing. I'm assuming from King of the Monsters, because they mentioned Millie's character. I forgot her name, Maddie, I think it was. I don't know.
Madison.
And then Madison, and then her dad, and then her crazy ass mother. And they kind of mentioned that, and I'm assuming that's how they got the tech, but they didn't really go into detail about it. So it's like, I was like, oh, okay, because I just watched King of the Monsters the other day for the second time. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. So I guess that was just something I picked up on. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that's a good spot because Brian Tyree Henry didn't know her mom. So yeah, that technology is probably well known in the Apex facility, which I mean, isn't the guy that pilots Mechagodzilla? He's the dude's son from King of the Monsters. And I'm like, how you gonna be against Godzilla?
Yeah.
Like, how you gonna be Ken Watanabe's son and you're against Godzilla? Like,
Watanabe was like all for Godzilla. He was just like,
this I'm like, how's his son like? Oh, I'm gonna build a machine to take this thing down. Like, what? Oh, and I gotta ask you this next. What did you think of Mechagodzilla's design? Because I was kind of like, he's so thin, dog.
It was. I mean, at first. Like the hands, I was like, what is going on? And then I was like, okay, like seeing him in action or seeing it in action, I was like, all right, I can work with this. It's been a while since I've seen like the OG, like the original Mechagodzilla designs. I mean, his arms were like Kong's almost. He had more of a reach for sure.
Yeah.
But I thought it was fine. Like for what it was. I mean, we saw a glimpse of him in the trailer and I was like, oh, that's Mechagodzilla. And it's like, yeah, like they didn't even try to hide it. Like they didn't mention it, but they didn't even like try to hide it. It's like, yeah, it's Mechagodzilla.
I don't know if you saw, but a couple of days before they dropped a full-on like Mechagodzilla trailer. Like,
did they really? Did not know that. I mean, I had a feeling he was going to be in the movie because it's like usually, you know, with these versus films, they usually end up teaming up, which was really great.
Why did you say that name?
There you have Martha. I was like, oh Lord.
I was like, is Godzilla gonna be on the ground and say save Mothra? Like, is that what's gonna bring it together?
Man, it was, yeah, Mechagodzilla design, like I thought it was fine. I mean, I guess they could have been more to, like, it looked like Godzilla. It was just the arms that were a bit robotic, but I mean, they made it work.
Right.
Really made it work. Like
he was tearing Godzilla's ass up, dude.
Literally wiping his ass like a rag doll. I was like, wow.
Oh my God. Like Godzilla just got out of like a, evenly matched, like pretty good battle. Like Kong had the upper hand at the beginning. Godzilla got the upper hand.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, like Mechagodzilla just comes in and just
he said, "You gonna learn today?"
Like, I was like, bro, there was like so many shots of just like Mechagodzilla slamming him against building. I'm like, damn.
I was like, Jesus, dude. Like, I mean, he's gonna get his whatever. I
think Mechagodzilla needed a couple sandwiches though. Like, I just thought he was like a little, underwhelming. Like, just the design though. Like, I kind of was like, like it just kind of looked like an exoskeleton, I guess. And
pretty
that's
much
what you're going for it. That's fine, but. Yeah, he was OP as hell. The beam, his atomic laser was way more powerful than Godzilla's atomic breath.
Like, I mean, with him, he could, like, he probably like with whatever computing power, whatever the hell they were using. Like when they first hit it, it was probably maybe, I'm just guessing, like maybe like 50%, and then he just like dialed it up to like 150 and just went, all for it. But it's like, that's like organic. Organism versus like man versus machine. It's like, it's all of, I don't know, man. But yeah, he just, that was like a Kamehameha power struggle right there.
For real. It was like, I'm getting some DBZ
like,
flashbacks.
And then I was like, woof. Like no effort whatsoever, just roasted Godzilla all across his chest. And I was like, yeah, you know what pain feels like. I like Godzilla, don't get me wrong.
A little bit.
But yeah, it was yeah, I know what you mean by the skeleton-esque of Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, just a little on the thinner side, but there was a portion of that I really didn't like, and I kind of was like, all right, Brian Tyree Henry and Fire Fist, that's just what we're gonna call him. They went ahead and they were trying to hack into the computer, and he poured the drink. I'm like, okay, why didn't they do that in the first place?
Yeah, I was wondering
without just like destroying it. Second, I kind of wanted Kong and Godzilla to like beat Mechagodzilla themselves. Like I was like, dude, the two of them, they're like holding his arms back before the computer got destroyed. I was like,
yeah.
The two of them should be enough to take him down. Like, together. Like,
I'm like, it seems like they have this under control.
Right. I mean, and he like Godzilla uses atomic breath on Kong's axe, and I was like, that's nice. All it took. Like, why do we have to use the computer and all that? Like, I just kind of thought that took away from their power a little bit.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, I don't know. With Kong, it's like when he had the axe prior to it being powered up again, it seemed that they had it to where he couldn't cut through Mechagodzilla. And then when, Godzilla powers up the axe, it's like all of a sudden he could do it. I mean, I kind of get it, but it's like, I don't know. It did seem like they had it. I mean, between both of them, like they should have been able to take care of it.
Yeah, like, come on, man. You got a giant ape and a sea monster. It should be enough for this machine.
Honestly, I was like, listen, like, I'm no scientist here, but it looks like they can handle themselves out there. I mean, obviously, stand by if anything goes wrong, but it felt a little more of, okay, that because all that happened within the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, it's time to kind of wrap it up. Because this was just under 2 hours. I think it was like an hour.
It was like an hour 50 or something, and I think this is the shortest in the MonsterVerse. Like for me, like
yeah, because when I was rewatching the other ones, regrettably watching 2014, but
oh
you have to
God.
I mean, I like the
was in that movie for 14 minutes. Come on now.
I thought it was 6. I thought it was 6. I don't know.
If you count like his feet and stuff like that.
It's like, oh, if you add all the little, like, yeah, whatever. But I mean, after Bryan Cranston passed away, I was like, all right,
what was the point of that?
I was like, this movie just went, I don't know, like, I guess sideways. I mean, you had Elizabeth Olsen. I mean, she did fine. Like, she did a good job, but it's like, I don't know, that movie was just, but anyway, like between that movie And then I know leading up to it, it's like it did seem like it got better and better. Like I really like Kong Skull Island. I mean, for what it was. Again, the human side didn't really care too much about it. It was just.
I mean, do we really come to these movies for that? You know what
Hell
I'm saying?
No. Absolutely not. I
will
will
say
I did like Brian
Infinity
Tyree.
Multiverse real quick, but yeah, the human elements of these are just kind of wah. And this is the shortest of the MonsterVerse.
It is.
Godzilla King of the Monsters was 2 hours and 12 minutes. That Joker felt like 2.5 hours easy.
It was just a pace. Like when I first saw it, I loved it in IMAX, and then I rewatched. Like even James had said, "Do not surrender to." All right, well,
on us.
Well, because James was saying that he didn't like King of the Monsters on the second watch. I was like, "What are you talking about, bro? Like this is the most monster fight we've gotten." And then I watched it. I was like. He was
Ain't
right.
it a chore?
He was right. It was a
chore.
It was. I don't know what it was. I was just like, Millie Bobby Brown was barely used in it. Same thing with Charles Dance. And I was like, why are they even here? Like these are like I swear you just slapped on Charles Dance and Millie Bobby Brown just for the name.
Yeah, and totally. They were like, oh, we got Tywin Lannister. Come check us out.
I was so excited. And then he didn't do shit. He did nothing. I was like, he was just the villain, I guess.
Right. Who even remembers his damn name? Just like the guy.
I can't remember.
Don't remember his name either. And it's like, he kind of was that kooky, like, type of villain. It's like,
I did like Brian Tyree in it, though. He was good.
I did like him a lot. Wait, hold on, Ryan. You didn't know about Bryan Cranston? That's in the 2014 Godzilla.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, how in the hell you gonna bring Bryan Cranston on
and kill
in the middle of his Breaking Bad fame?
Fucking movies.
Kill him in the first 30 hour?
Minutes. It was like around 30 minutes. I'm like, who's carrying this movie? Who? Who's
Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Taylor Johnson, who played siblings not too long after that. Fucking weird, in my opinion.
Yeah, some people found it. I was like, why do people find it weird? I was like, didn't Godzilla come out before Avengers? I'm like, well, I get obviously Avengers is way more popular, so that's probably why. And like, I didn't know Elizabeth Olsen. I never saw Godzilla 2014 when it came out in theaters. I was like,
oh man, I was there day one, bro.
Really?
Oh yeah. Let me tell you a little story about Godzilla, man. So when I was like in elementary school, I went to a buddy's house of mine named Jonathan. And man, this dude pulled out like a stack of VHS tapes. This was aroundish the time of the Godzilla 1998. But he pulled out a stack of them jokers and was like, we're gonna go through all these. And it was like a lot of them, dude, are like an hour 15 minutes. Yeah. So it's like, okay, you can crush through about 4 or 5 of them theoretically. If you're a kid, you have not shit to do.
Nothing to do.
Summer break, whatever. So we crushed through like 6 of them. We went through the first Godzilla, King Kong versus Godzilla, Godzilla Strikes Again. Like we just went back to back. And then I just went and pirated the rest of them and watched through most of those movies. So I love me some Godzilla. As soon as I see that 2014.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen them because I remember watching them at my cousin's house when I was younger. But other than that, I never really I knew who Godzilla was. I knew who King Kong was, but like outside of like, hanging out with my cousin Kentucky, like I visited him like during the summer, so it's not like I really saw him all that much. But I was
know what I'm hearing?
What?
I'm hearing that you could potentially be Team Godzilla.
No, fam.
Come on, man.
Can't join the dark side. No, I was joking. But no, it was like I love Godzilla in this movie. Like he really was like, I mean, he marked his territory. But it's like, it was I felt like it was an evenly matched fight between them. It wasn't just, well, Godzilla is just gonna wipe him with his atomic breath. Because it's like, I mean, Kong's a monkey, but he's not stupid. Like he was, I guess you could call him like one of the, Rise of the Planet of the Apes or whatever. Maybe not that intelligent, but like he was learning, he was adapting while he fought, like learning different tactics and stuff. And I mean, we even saw in Kong Skull Island that like he's been using like weapons or like for a while now, because he used like I think like the stick of the branch, and then there was like the chain fan windmill thing, whatever it was.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah, he like put that around his arm. I was like, oh, it's over.
Going in like.
So it's like, it was great. I mean, I really wish we get more lore for like the monsters, but I don't know if they're just gonna make like a straight monster movie.
I mean, that's my biggest problem with all these movies. I'm like, take the damn humans out, like, and I'm not saying like there can't be screen time for them, but it's just like seriously, like let's focus on the monsters. What I did like was like that opening crawl where you had like all of their wins and stuff, and you had all these other monsters that got like eliminated. It was like defeated, and then matched the two of them up. I thought that was cool because it was like, okay, we established both of them as the alphas of the monster race right now. Like, all of the rest of them are dead. Like, it was either Godzilla or
all of them are, because there was like what 17 and counting in Godzilla.
Yeah, and it was just like dead. Yeah, and it was like, damn. And wait, so Kong took down. By the way, what's up, Ryan? Kong took down what, the skull crawlers?
Yeah,
and
like
the rest of
the
Godzilla?
the daddy of the skull crawlers, and then there was something else that they showed, but it's like
a lizard thing or something.
Yeah.
Or was that the skull crawlers? No, there's like a lizard.
There was something else. There was something else. I can't remember. But like he only really faced the skull crawlers in Kong versus Godzilla, unless there was something else that happened off screen that we obviously never got. But even the director, Adam Wingard, he said for like future MonsterVerse films, he thinks that they should have even fewer humans. He was saying that people are ready for it. And he actually shot a after credit scene, like post credit scene, but it didn't make it into the film.
Oh no! What was the post credit?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, I know. Got off Culture Crave. They're verified again, so I believe them.
What happened to that check mark, dude? Like they just got robbed for. It's
been coming and going. Like I was like,
it's like they have one fact wrong, and then Twitter's like,
I really don't know how the whole verification process works. So, I mean,
at this point, none of us do, man. But what do you think is the future of the MonsterVerse? Like, where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, if they want to do like a Godzilla Strikes Again, but it's like, I mean, like we've seen a lot of Godzilla. I kind of do want to see a little bit more of Kong. Like, I want him to get another like standalone movie. Maybe a few years down the line between him and Gia, more of their relationship, or just, I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to think of what are the other monsters that they usually face.
I mean, you could bring back Mecha Ghidorah.
That's right. Could be like that's what it was. Boss. Yeah.
And then I like Mothra's gone, Rodin's gone. Like that's my thing is I'm like,
we kind of killed them all off in King of the Monsters. Like, yeah. And like, I mean, we saw a few others. Like, I don't even know the name of the monster that he faced in 2014.
What's that like cyborg thing? Like, there's like a humanoid like cyborg that they fight as well. And I'm like, okay, maybe you could bring him. Yeah, because I was like, there's so many of them, but I'm like, you could probably bring him. But then you start reaching into like the obscurity, and it's kind of like, okay, I mean, you could do Baby Godzilla, I guess. That's who it is. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Jet Jaguar.
Jaguar. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah. So I mean, they could. What's up?
With a little Baby Yoda. That's the question right now. Is the MonsterVerse over? Like,
it sounds like it isn't. It's given from the director, from what he said, it sounds like it isn't. Especially if he shot a post-credit scene, but we don't know what it is or if we'll ever see it. But it's kind of like every single time, like everyone wants to see Godzilla versus Kong, and it's like, yeah, like where do we go from here? Because do we just start all over, or
pick up from there? Let's not hit the reset button. Like I really don't want to be like, oh, no, this is another new version of no way, man. And I'm sure after this box office return, Legendary is going to, or I'm sorry, Toho is going to be like, let's make some more money, baby. Let's do it.
It's just like, like where do they go? Because it's like, unless Well, Ghidorah was more like they kind of established it as like an alien in Kingdom of the Monsters. Have him fight John Cena.
Well, he wouldn't be able to see him. He wouldn't be able to see him the whole time. So
and you just get the Rock in there too.
Right? I mean, just look, cross it over with the Fast and the Furious.
I was literally about to say that. I was literally
have them driving cars right onto the Godzilla's back.
I think Ricky tweeted out earlier. He was like, "Who would win in a fight?" And be honest, it was the Fast and Furious team or the Avengers. I'm like, honestly, the Fast and Furious is a live action anime at this point because they're just.
I mean, for real,
they're everywhere. I'm like, you guys just not get hurt. Like, you have these like extraordinary, like superhuman abilities that nobody else has.
Driving off of buildings, and I'm like, all right, come on now, what are we doing? Busted through windows, swerving cars through windows.
Seriously,
I'm like, all right, this is. I mean, seriously, you asked that question, and at this point, it's like, honestly, I don't know. Like, Dom and them could come up with some kind of crazy plan that could just trap the 4 Avengers. I mean, seriously, I don't know.
Next, they're just gonna end up breathing in space or something. I don't know. It's just gonna. Oh, that's right. They did want to do a MonsterVerse Pacific.
That would be tight.
That would be awesome.
Hit Godzilla against the Pacific Rim monster. I'm in, bro.
Yeah.
And see, that's a way to keep it fresh because, like, that's exactly what the old school movies did. Godzilla versus this person, Godzilla versus Megalon, Godzilla versus. I'm like, okay, well, if you guys just want to do a straight up versus series, do it.
Yeah. I do like. Ooh, I think the Pacific is over after.
Terrible sequel. Yeah.
I didn't see the sequel.
The Netflix one. Ooh, it was horrible.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh. Didn't even realize it was on Netflix.
Yeah, dude, it just dropped on the Super Bowl Sunday. Like, it was Super Bowl Sunday, and it just dropped. It wasn't this Super Bowl Sunday, but it was like, what, 2 or 3 years ago, I want to say. I was just like, dude, what the hell?
I will say, I like the little callback in this movie where I think it was Godzilla versus Kong prior, where Kong, like, shoves, like, a tree down Godzilla's throat. And then he kind of does the same thing with the axe. And this one, I was like, oh, that was. He's like, ah.
Because that was the stupidest damn scene in the 1960s. I'm like, what is happening? Like, eat your broccoli. It was just so bad. Like, who thought it was a good idea to like have Kong stuffing a tree down his freaking
that was so funny. I was like, what is going on here?
It's like you just see the gifs of the original Godzilla versus Kong. There's literally like a scene, and it might be from Godzilla versus Kong, or it might be from a later movie. Feel free to correct me in the chat if you know. But Godzilla is literally just like floating, bro. Like he's literally just on his tail, like floating along.
They really did. It's just so funny to go back and see older movies like that. And it's
there's like one of him like kicking Kong over, and it's like, what the fuck is happening right now? I'm gonna see if I can breathe.
That's how they fight. That's how they fight.
Let's see, 1960.
They just went balls to the wall, and they just didn't care about anything. And it's just so funny to go back and see older movies like that. And it's like, they don't even try to hide it. If something just looks off, it's just like, hey, that's just how movie magic was back then. Like, people just thought it was amazing. I'm like, hey, we weren't alive back then, but whatever.
I mean, and that's kind of what I thought about the 1954 Godzilla. Is like, I looked at it and I was like, well, shit, for like 1954, this is actually pretty tight. Like, this is like revolutionary for the time, you know?
It's better than that one Godzilla that came out, I think it was the early 2000s.
Oh, 1998. That shit was
nice.
Awful.
So bad.
Oh, look, here's that gif.
There, he's just like, I'm like, what? He just like hops up on his tail. I'm like, what are you, a Pokemon?
He's freaking bop, kicks him over.
It's just like what? It literally looks like two little figurines just fighting, and then like a kid's just like,
they had to come up with the best they had.
Yeah, and it's, you got to keep that in mind. But yeah, God, it makes for some funny content.
Yeah, so it was Pacific Rim Uprising, which I think They just dropped the anime Pacific Rim Black.
Did they really?
Yeah, and I heard it wasn't too bad, which Pacific Rim probably would work better as an anime anyway, but I don't really like those 3D animes that much.
So with Teen Titans, but here we are.
With fucking diapers. And... Wait, of Teen Titans Go?
No, of Titans.
Oh, of Titans, the live action. So, okay, was that season 2 that good? I know I'm derailing a little bit, but
no, it's fine. It was rough. I mean, I didn't really even like the first season all that much. Like, it was, I don't know why I put myself through that.
I don't even want to get back into it, man.
But it's like, there were parts where it was like really, but it was interesting. Like, Slade's like, or Deathstroke's like the main villain in season 2. And then you had Raven's father as the main villain season 1.
Yeah,
but
I remember that.
It felt like the season premiere of season 2 should have been the season finale of season 1, or at least half of it. But I mean, like, I guess season 1 was like a little bit better, but honestly, Dick Grayson's probably the only reason why I stuck around, because I did like his character development, like his arc so far. Everything else, didn't care about Hawk and Dove. My God, there was just so much Hawk and Dove.
But and see, I started up season 2 and I was like, if I had to see any more of them, dude, I am seriously.
There's a lot of them in Hawk and Dove, and then there's.
See, and that's the thing is like I'm
finale of season 2. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's
no, like, you're good. It's like the
ending.
Dove and Robin stuff was weird to me, and I'm just like
they didn't really go into that much. It's just like, oh, they used to date, and then that was it. Like we didn't really get like a clear explanation as to like what happened, but it's like yes.
Ooh, Tyler says
yes.
It's poop.
It is.
Are you talking about Titans, Christian? Oh no, I think
he's talking about Pacific Rim.
That was a movie. What up, SPC Bird? Just finished the movie. Pretty enjoyable. Some problems, but still great. Yeah. You know, okay. So I guess that's one thing we actually really haven't touched on is what are the problems with this movie?
the problems. So I would say, let's see, because I really like, as much as I didn't like the human stuff, I really liked. Well, like I guess the motivation, like there, it's like, yeah, like we need to stop Godzilla from attacking, but it's like, well, the people who are provoking Godzilla to attack indirectly, or they probably knew about it all along, which it kind of seemed like they did, or the same people are trying to get rid of him. But I guess it was like Christian, you know, what he was saying, the human characters is very
like the dialogue is so bad, dude.
Outside of like Gia and like her like caretaker, like the funny is he was saying like the coward. That was kind of funny. But yeah, honestly, Rob, besides Brian Tyree Henry and the little girl, I can't say much for Millie Bobby Brown. Like she was just there. I
think she had more emotion and a little more like dialogue and action in this movie, but like
Fire Fist did like nothing. He was just the butt of every joke. Tap water.
Water.
That was a pretty funny scene though, but it's like
it's Brian Tyree Henry though. Like he's one of the good few.
He was great. It's just, I mean, I guess the villains themselves, it's just like, even like on the Kong side, like the daughter of the main villain, like she was just like an ass just because she was an ass.
And Eiza González is great. Like she's a great actress, and I'm like, really? They have reduced her to like this villainous, evil. I'm Vicky from Fairly Odd Parents type of evil.
Seriously, though, I'm just bad because I'm bad. Well, apparently, Zach Pope was telling me that there was 2 cuts of this film, and one had more monsters, and the other one was more human focused. I'm glad they went
the more monster route.
Yeah.
If they would have went that human route, dude, it would not have been as I don't want to say successful yet, but I want to say as well received as it's been. Like it would have been like a Because come on, let's be real. The story the story and the characters are what's the problem here. The characters literally have robotic interactions in the sense that it's just like even some of the dialogue exchanges feel weak or feel phoned in, and I'm just like, dude, look, man, like these characters, I don't really care.
Had to fill in, like, to get back to the monsters, but I think that goes back to me like saying like I just wish we knew more about the actual lore of like this ancient rivalry, because by the time of Kong Skull Islands, Kong's the only one left of his kind. Like all of his parents and like the rest of his kind are already dead, and it's like, okay, but like where are the rest of Godzilla's like ancestors or whatever, or is he the last of his kind? I really don't
they
know.
went into it in King of the Monsters, but dude, it was so boring that nobody remembers. Like seriously, it was boring. It was
watched it a few days ago and I can't even remember.
Right, you can't bake it in, like you can't bake this into the movie in a really decent way. But I do want to say hello to a really good friend of mine, Tessa. What's up, girl? From Mama's Geeky. Hello. Says the humans are so bad and Team Godzilla. Yes, the right team. But yeah, the humans are horrible. I mean, it's just like you were saying, it's to fill time. Look, people are saying Walter's really one-dimensional. Says Christian hated that they killed off Eiza after she was revealed to be evil. Yeah, and I was thinking that the whole time because I was like, well, isn't her dad like?
Yeah.
And then when they finally like reveal, oh, she's evil, I do agree with you, Christian. It was so quick that it was like, damn, we didn't even get to like breathe.
And then she just dies. Like Kong just
Kong just literally Kong looked her in the eye though. It was like, did you really just and then crush that shit? like
it was nothing. Like it was canned soda. It was Coca-Cola on the floor.
He said
crushing another beer.
He got all up in that shit. Like I was just like,
okay.
I was like, oh my god.
I was like if you didn't shoot at him, you probably would have been fine. But no, you had to shoot the monkey. Like you've seen in action, and that nothing can really. I mean, yes, they can be killed, but it takes a lot. Like even between the 5 years between King of the Monsters and Godzilla, like I'm assuming they're using, specific weapons that actually affect Godzilla over just it's like shooting Superman. It's like, why? Like why?
Even try? Like, why?
You're just wasting bullets.
A waste of time. And Christian was referring to Ren as in Ken Watanabe's son. His character made absolutely zero sense to me. I'm like, how are you Ken Watanabe's son and you're against Godzilla? Like, I just don't get it. And they're like, oh, we want like an alpha. And I'm like, okay, so we saved you guys from King Ghidorah, but you want to use Ghidorah's skull to make an alpha? I just was like, what? Like, what kind of sense does that make? And I understand that they wanted to have control. They wanted the humans to be the alpha. They wanted to build their own machine so they could be in control. But I'm like, okay, the motivation is to beat down Godzilla who saved you? Like, I just thought it was like so ridiculous.
It doesn't make any sense.
What?
Like, he clearly was
Skull Island as well.
Yeah. It's like Skull Island, like, again, like, obviously the Kong parts were interesting. I didn't really care for Samuel Jackson's character and all that. I was just like, he's literally being stupid right now. Like, it just didn't make any sense. He's like, oh, we gotta, take down this plane. It's like, bro, we are in a random uncharted islands where anything and everything can just swoop you up and kill you. And it's like, why? It's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, the human characters, they're just not as interesting.
Exactly like it makes none. I mean, seriously, it's just like it makes zero sense. It's the problem is that the focus should be on the monsters, and I think they really approach these movies with a monster first attitude, so that makes the human characters really suffer, and then you shoehorn them in the movie so much, especially King of the Monsters was overload. I mean,
there was a lot going on in that movie. There was a lot.
They went from he went from fighting Rodan and all the monsters on the island, and Ghidorah comes down and they come back to the city. And then in between all that, you're exploring Godzilla's lore and all that. It's like, what in the heck is happening?
It was
Like, what is this
Amazing
movie
Spider-Man
really
2 all
about?
over again.
Oh my
There's just so much going on.
Woo!
Even Spider-Man 3. It's so much going on within King of the Monsters. It's just like, he's facing like 3-4 different. Then Mothra comes in and like helps, and it's like, what? Like, I felt like this could have been stretched out between a few more movies, but it's like, you put everything in there, and like, I mean, I get it.
They wanted their
like,
BBS, bro.
It could have just been Ghidorah versus Godzilla. You didn't need Rodin in there. You didn't. I mean, seeing Mothra would have been is cool, but you didn't need Rodin. You didn't need Mothra as well.
Yeah, that could have been like for after Mechagodzilla, because then you build up. You have the main character or the main villain, if you will, of King of the Monsters be Ghidorah.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, Godzilla rises up because he feels like a sudden disturbance in the force, whatever you guys want to explain it as. Then Ghidorah comes down, Ghidorah beats him. Then later in the movie, he comes back and defeats Ghidorah. I mean, that's all we really need to do. Move on to Godzilla versus Kong. Then we have Mothra still. We still got Rodin. We still have all these monsters at our disposal. But they were trying to get to their Avengers Endgame. Like they were like, let's just get through these.
It's like X-Men Apocalypse. That was supposed to be their end game, essentially, and it's like everyone's
they shoehorn Dark Phoenix in. Like,
it's just I feel like with a lot of these movies, especially with like King of the Monsters or Kong versus Godzilla, like it was like I thoroughly enjoyed it, but it's like I feel like everyone just tries. All these studios try to rush to the end. It's like it takes time to like develop and like make these movies. So like you need to have a beginning, like you need to know where your heroes or your monsters are going to end up, and you got to figure out how to get there.
Yeah,
so like DC equals disconnected, and I will say that 1,000 times over.
Wow.
As much as I love DC, it just feel it. I mean, it does feel disconnected, and I'm not saying it has to be like Marvel, but it's like even with like King of the Monsters, like. With these kaiju films, like they're connected, but it's not like as BVS all over again, but it's not as tightly knit connected as the MCU. Like it is its own story, but it's like at the same time, it's like this is the 4th movie. It's like I felt like we should have gotten at least maybe like 5 or 6 before leading up to this. Or if you want to
do Godzilla versus Kong, that's fine, but have movies after
and
have them team up and come back and all that stuff. And okay, you could have like Rodin come back with like several others, and it's like Godzilla struggling on his own, so Kong comes back. Like you could have stuff like that because they did have their solo films. Godzilla and Kong did have their 2. Godzilla 2014, Kong Skull Island, they had their 2. But I feel we didn't really get a proper lore movie because let's be real,
what I wanted.
Has so much crap. Like there should have just and I know that was Godzilla too, but it's like it should have been a little tighter and not so focused on the vast amount of just focus on Godzilla and maybe even King Ghidorah, and that's it. No Mothra, no Rodin, no, here's where all the monsters come from and all this.
Yeah, like you can mention it. Like the Titan numbers are climbing from what we've seen because we see it. And like Kong shows up for like a half second and King of the Monsters when they're like going through, like they're just, mentioning Skull Island or whatever. And then it's just on to the next one. And it's like, okay, but like, what are these other monsters? You said there's 17 of them. Like, why are you skipping over all this other stuff? And I mean, even with Hollow Earth, like they were saying that's like the birthplace of all the Titans. I'm like, oh, that's like really interesting. But like, how did these, these monsters, these meta, sub gods or whatever, how do they become like in existence? Like they didn't.
And here's the thing, I'm sure they explain it in King of the Monsters, man, but they just they didn't do such a good job with storytelling. And
it's like, where did Godzilla come from? I mean, I don't know. It's just like, Godzilla just seems like he's always been there, but it's like at this point in the franchise, I feel like they should go into more. Like even with Kong's parents, like they mentioned, Gia says, like, oh, your family could be down there. And I'm glad they didn't have Gia like betray Kong, because the other guy was saying, oh, like remember they're trying to get down to Hollow Earth. Mm-hmm. And then
Like persuade him, like be like,
to go like when they're in Antarctica, and then I forgot the guy's name. He was talking to Gia's like pseudo mom or whatever. It's like, oh, like tell Gia that to tell Kong that his family's down there. There's more like him, and she just goes over to Gia. She's like, hey, tell him that there could. Like
right. She doesn't know. She was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
She was like, are they there? She's like, fuck.
Who knows? None of us do.
That's exactly how I would have gone about that conversation. It's like, bro, I don't know. I'm just telling you what he told me. But it's like, let's tweak it a little bit. Let's not deceive Kong, but let's still make him, lead us to where we need him to be.
Yeah, and I like that. I'm glad they didn't like try to trick him or try to be like, oh, like, hey, your family's actually down there. Like, no, she was like, well, they could be there, so let's check it out and we should explore. So at least he naturally went, and they didn't shatter that relationship at all. There was no, and what I liked about the Kong Gia relationship is there's no like moment where it's tense. There's no moment where Kong doesn't trust her or anything. Like, no, they're friends throughout the entire movie. And this is a good question from Christian Knight. Out of the MonsterVerse films, which one had the best human characters and which ones had the worst? King of the Monsters had the worst. The best, believe it or not, in my opinion, believe it or not, was Kong Skull Island. I thought actually had the best. Human. Whether they're great, they're not great characters, but
I'm really trying to think. Like, I mean, I would have given it to 2014 until Bryan Cranston freaking croaks, but after that, I was just like, whatever, because like the mom died. Like, that was kind of sad. I was like, man, that's kind of hard, but he's like, yeah. That's a good question. So I would have to say, yes, King of the Monsters. King of the Monsters had the worst. And then it goes 2014 Godzilla for the second worst. And then I'm trying to, I did like the characters in Skull. I mean, it was a stacked cast. Like, you had Brie Larson, you had
Samuel L. Jackson. I mean,
we had Tom Hiddleston.
Back up.
Yeah, it was,
Tyler says I can name like 3 human characters in the whole. I don't know who I can name in the whole one. Madison. That's it.
Madison.
Oh, and Gia. Don't even remember. Bernie was by Brian Tyree Henry. That's it. The rest of these characters, I'm like, who?
Dude, does Gia and Bernie make up for better characters than Kong Skull Island as a whole?
Nah. Nope.
No? Okay.
Not in my opinion, at least, because I just feel like Kong Skull Island had a better rounded out human character set.
Yeah. And it wasn't as, I mean, it made sense because it was more of like an expedition to find out.
It was like a journey kind of.
It wasn't just like, oh, while Godzilla's destroying, you see Godzilla on a friggin' TV screen in 2014. I was like, like you barely saw it. It's like, oh, we're about to get to action, and cut to the next scene. And
it's like, psych.
Like, wow, this movie just did me dirty. But yeah, I would have to agree with you. For sure, Kong Skull Island. And then Godzilla versus Kong is second best. And then 2014. And then King of the Monsters.
I would flip King of the Monsters of 2014 only because King of the Monsters has more Godzilla.
It does. It does. That is very true. So what would you rank this new MonsterVerse?
Ooh, good question. So I would say number 1 is Godzilla versus Kong for me, because of course it had the most focus on the monsters. We were actually getting battle. Number 2 is Kong Skull Island, again, because it did have good human characters. I did think the story made sense for Kong. It was good. I thought it was a good movie. Number 3, I would say, is Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then number 4, Godzilla 2014, simply because A, Bryan Cranston dies in the first 30 minutes, and B, there's no Godzilla in that movie, like barely any. So I can't stand with that.
Rank. That
For real?
It is.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like, I was going back and forth. I'm like, do I like King of the Monsters more than Kong Skull Island? I'm like, I liked Ghidorah because he was so like the villain of Ghidorah, because he was just so vicious,
hard
and
to
just,
beat. Yeah, he was like impossible to defeat. Almost.
That was like a blue eyes white dragon right there from Yu-Gi-Oh.
For real, like
Yeah,
a Blue Eyes Ultimate, bro. 3-headed
I was
dragon,
like,
baby.
nope. Like he was just so vile, and I was like, he really just wrecked everything. But yeah, it would have to be. It's there for me. 2014. It's just, I mean, I know people love the movie, and I respect your opinion.
I think he has the exact same ranking, Christian, as us. Said he tied up King of the Monsters and Godzilla for 2014, which is understandable.
Yeah.
If you take the monster battles from Godzilla King of Monsters and the actual character and story from the 2014, you get a good movie. I'm telling you, there's a good movie if you blend both of them together, but separately,
it's there somewhere. Like, it's just so hard. Like, for whatever reason, when it comes to, I mean, we're so used to like human-esque characters, but I mean, I guess there are other movies out there that, well, even with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, like that whole trilogy, it's like the human. It was just like, it was a perfect balance. Like, no, they weren't. Yeah. The monkeys weren't kaiju like monkeys or whatever, but like it was something other than humans that we actually cared about, and it's like I just don't know. It's just hard. I think it'll always be a downside to kaiju movies is the human characters.
So Kong Skull Island for Ryan as well. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. It's whew. I mean, I'll definitely, like, if I watch this again, because I was debating watching 2014 again. I'm like, do I really need to watch this?
Fam. I did not watch any of these movies back. I did.
I was excited. I mean, I was happy when Kong Skull Island came on, and that was about it. When I watched that one, I mean, like, I own all of them, but yeah, I was like, do I really want to start 20? I'm like, I guess so. I'm like, I guess I'll give it another shot.
You're brave, bro, because I was like, no.
I'm a Titans season 1 and season 2 survivor. I can survive anything.
That takes some patience. But what would you, to kind of wrap things up, how would you rank out of 10 Godzilla versus Kong?
I would give it like, I want to give it like a C+.
Okay.
Maybe
that's about where I'm at. I'm at like a 7.5.
Yeah.
Like I liked it. I think the human interactions and the story kind of drag it back a little, just because like the motivations for holy smokes, Christian Knight, 9 out of 10. Wow. I would definitely go 7. But hey man, I love the battles. The visuals are amazing. The score, even, I mean, Junkie XL on the score, fantastic choice. Bringing back Godzilla's theme when he's like crawling through the waters and stuff, that was amazing. But I mean, seriously, it's just like the human characters make no sense. The motivations don't make any sense. The interactions are dry. It's like stop including them so much.
Yeah, it's like they make the monster parts first, and it's like, oh, well, we got to have a human side, and it's like,
no,
do you?
No, just have him in there to explain stuff, and then that's it. But Christian, where can we find you on social media? What's coming up on Film Optix, bro?
Oh man, so you can follow me personally at Music City Nerd on Twitter. You can follow our podcast Film Optix, that is Optics with an X, for all your latest pop culture, movie, TV, video game news. We have our Godzilla vs. Kong review coming out sometime this weekend. We also are going to be doing a back-to-back review on one podcast with Invincible and Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's something new we're trying out. I'm not super crazy about it, but we'll just have to see where that takes us. And we just reviewed Solar Opposites on our podcast. You can find us on every podcast platform across the internet, minus Sirius XM. Sorry. So yeah, that's pretty much what's coming up for this week, at least.
Hey, that's what's up, bro. Well, guys, check out Film Optix. Y'all know Geekly Goods got another Invincible review and reaction coming, so stay tuned to that. And y'all, thanks for coming out for the Godzilla vs. Kong spoiler review, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.